Babies like her were saved, and many severely handicapped, even more severely handicapped babies are being saved today. They deserve a future. They deserve a safe and secure life. They deserve a continuum of services that are appropriate and meet their needs in an appropriate environment. Many of us as parents struggle for years, and our goal is to see that our sons and daughters do have a secure life when we're no longer around to fight on their behalf.
We are the voice of the retarded. Voice of the Retarded is a national organization advocating on behalf of all individuals who are the most fragile of the retarded community.
One of the best benefits we have out of VOR is educating our legislators on the special needs of this population and helping to work in the legislative area to make sure that we don't inadvertently pass legislation that restricts the care that our children can receive and change that care from a level they have historically received to something less than that level they have received, which is the most important thing to me. They keep me aware of issues that I might otherwise not find out about that I can help take action on to make sure that a standard of life is maintained for my child.
The sad part is that most of the people who have retarded children do not understand our 5%. Maybe we're only 5% of the population. But I have heard and been to meetings where people who have retarded children don't even realize that our severely handicapped children exist. And I think sometimes what the legislators hear are from that other 95%, and this 5% needs special care. But we are such a minority group sometimes that we are not heard.
The VOR speaks for us because we're helpless. One person, or one family, or one small group of parents cannot speak out against all of the forces that seem to be working against us. There is no other national organization to speak for us. In fact, the traditional Association for the Retarded in this country has turned its back on Michael and our family and the others similarly situated. So we need the VOR, and we're thankful that we have it.
When you're talking about children who cannot distinguish, people who cannot distinguish between an edible and non-edible item, that means they have to be watched every single minute. When you move those folks away from an environment with a lot of caregivers, whether it's to one's home or into the community, you place them far more at risk. And that is why when you look at study after study, what they show is far more serious injuries and deaths for the retarded people in the community. That doesn't mean they shouldn't be in the community, but it means it is not an idyllic place that is proper for everybody.
And when my son was home, he had 2 sisters and another brother, and all of our time was spent watching Roger. Roger ran here and Roger ran there, and Roger couldn't get out in the street 24 hours a day. Somebody slept with him. We were just with him all the time. And since he came here, I know in order to get him in the institution, it was a hard choice for me to make, and the only way I could do it was I realized that I was depriving my whole family of a life so that Roger could have a life, and I don't know what kind of a life it was for him, really. When I applied to go into the institution, because I kind of thought, I'm putting him away, and the only way I could get around it was to say, well, I'll put in the application, but maybe I won't send him. And then when the time came, I just about had a breakdown, really. But we put him in the institution. I remember when he came here to NVTC, I looked, and here he came in. It was the nicest, most wonderful place, and he was happy, and he ran around. He had more freedom here, because at home we couldn't let him out the door, because he'd run right into the street, or he would walk right off the end of a porch or anything like that. And with his seizures, he could go down any place. Here, they take care of everything. Right now, he's at camp. They've sent him to summer camp, and we went down there today to see him, and he was floating around in the swimming pool, just as happy as anything.
I would like to encourage legislators at all levels of our government, at the local level, state level, the national level, and the general public who live in the vicinity of a training center to contact that training center. Contact the Director of Volunteer Services. Volunteer an hour of your time a week and come over to the training center and see what we do here. There are no secrets. You will be shown the whole center and you'll have an opportunity to interact with children who have retardation at all levels, and you will understand what happens in a training center and why it's necessary to have a training center for children with this degree of retardation.
We must look at developmental centers as a home so as to break the ongoing myth that was established years ago when this term indicated nothing short of warehousing. Today's developmental centers are home to the residents. Family members and guardians take an active role in the residents' lives. Since many developmental centers are located in busy communities, residents are able to participate in local and special events along with volunteers on the developmental center grounds.
Well, as you look around this evening, it certainly shows on their faces, the expressions, even if they're nonverbal, they let you know by their body language that they're having a fantastic time.
One of the phrases that's often used is this the least restrictive environment?
And he's unable to use his hands, so what we've used instead is an optical head pointer. And John is able to use his head and with the light to activate a symbol so he can speak. He can ask people to the dance. He's excited right now. And he can also tell people if he's going to camp or not this summer, which is a big deal. Huh, John? Yes. So right now, John, could you talk for us for a second?
I would like to go outside.
Probably, John, because it's hot right now.
While the majority of individuals with mental retardation do not need the intense 24-hour quality support offered in most developmental centers, those that do are our most fragile citizens. These individuals require this high level of care now provided in these centers for their survival. But current statistics indicate that many smaller settings are not equipped in staff nor equipment to meet the sometimes complex medical, behavioral, and support requirements of the most severely disabled people. California peer-reviewed research has also shown that the risk of mortality for individuals with severe cognitive disabilities is 72% higher in group home settings than in institutions. Developmental centers offer quality services to many individuals with severe or profound mental retardation. This is the only care option for our most fragile citizens in need of 24-hour monitoring. It is important that we all focus less on one's address and more on whether or not appropriate supports are being provided. It is most important that we recognize how much the need for a full array of health care must be made available to these fragile Americans. Since mental retardation recognizes no social or economic boundaries, it can affect any family. Our Congress, state legislatures, and general public need to hear from us on a regular basis and help break the myth. In addition to the desperate need for increased funding, VOR needs to continually increase membership and encourage participation in our many grassroots advocacy activities.
There are many others at this training center and throughout the country who have very special needs that only training centers can fulfill.
It's just been a tremendous comfort to be able to have the training center here and know that he's safe and happy.
I think that in general the needs of the profoundly retarded are not understood by our legislatures, who in today's economy are trying to cut cost in any way they can, and that they would cut cost associated with care that needs to be given to the mentally retarded population who are medically complex, and that one of the best benefits we have out of VOR is educating our legislators.
VOR is really, it's like a voice in the darkness sometimes. I think when we were in committee meetings with the state on system reform, one of the big benefits was finding out about the situations in California where the people were dying that were discharged from institutions. And we brought this to the attention of the people in the state system, and I think this did make a difference in their outlook on deinstitutionalization.
This has got to change, and it's up to our legislators to see that this is a very, very small minority of people that we're dealing with. The percentages are minute, but that it is a crucial group of people that need services, and that our group of parents are aging, but there are young families out there right now who are where we were 20 years ago, and they need help, and they need training centers just as much as we did.
VOR has been a voice of the retarded. The experts on these kids are the parents, the guys who've been in the trenches with these kids since they were born. And we're still in the trenches trying to get the voice of these kids heard throughout the country.
A civilized society is judged by how it treats its most needy citizens. Let's help VOR keep the voices of the retarded alive and strong. For more information, contact Voice of the Retarded.